Ahoy! That was quite a cavalcade.
Flotilla.
Quite a flotilla of various stuffs. Yes. Hi, I'm Danny Gregory, and here's JJ Gregory as well.
Hi.
And
Happy Thursday.
Yes, good.
Yay.
For some reason, you are lagging.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
And our tech problems.
Continue. We have a new form of tech problem.
Tech problems prevail. What is it? We're not abiding by these tech problems.
We will not abide by them. No, we won't. So yes, so we will just suck it up and deal with it. Yes, it is always something here.
You know, we've had a bit of a melt in rapport in the studio.
I know.
3 pieces of gear swapped out. Some to greater success than others.
I know. I don't get it, but
are you? Do you want me to talk to see if
yes? No. No. It's good. It's fine.
I'm just going to drink my tea.
We'll just live with it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes. So today is fruit day. Fruit's good for you.
Fruit.
We're going to draw a lot of fruit. I have to say before we move on to fruit, that there were a lot of good jokes in those ship drawings.
I agree. People had fun with it.
I know. So it was nice to see all the little annotations.
I know. People are asking if I'm lip syncing. Should we give up?
How can we give up?
Should I go away?
No.
Should I?
It'll resolve or it won't. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening because usually JJ's ahead of me, but in this case, not. So JJ, just talk for a second.
Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
Now she's completely frozen.
It's a neighborly day in the beauty hood. Oh.
All right. Well, we can hear you.
Okay.
So maybe this is, to be honest, this is kind of the way I like her. Frozen.
Enjoy it. It'll be brief.
Oh, well.
Should I unplug?
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. It's been fun while it lasted.
Close, but no cigar. All right. You're stuck with me. Yeah. This is one of the joys of... you can continue to be an audio person if you want. Why don't you do that?
Okay.
You're just audio.
Okay.
All right. So
Audio
she's to be
only.
heard and not seen.
I'm a disembodied head.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, where were we after that?
So we have a quiz. Do you want to talk about the quiz?
Yeah. How about the quiz? What are the results of the quiz right now? So there's a quiz. Hopefully you're seeing it in the comments. If you're watching the recording, you're missing the quiz. But the question was, who is your favorite still life painter? JJ, give us the choices and tell us what the results are.
I'm not sure I can do that because I can't see the quiz.
Double click on it. Just click on that.
Okay, so, geez, we have a clear, wait, are you in the running? You're in the running.
Well.
Yikes.
So tell us the results. Come on, because you're not on camera, so you got to move this thing along.
Okay. So we have a clear winner, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
And then we have Gregory falling behind.
Well, give us the numbers.
All right, so
report from the polls.
Van Gogh with 44% in the lead. Gregory 36%.
Not bad.
I find dubious at best. Cezanne 20%.
20%.
Morandi Zed.
Nobody likes Morandi.
What the what? I'm going to give Morandi a vote right now.
Oh man.
How do I do that?
All right, so yeah. Well, anyway.
All right, I'm ending this poll. So, no.
Alex wants to change the vote. No,
yeah, somebody just took
Polls are closed.
a percentage away from Cezanne, which is a shame because
Cezanne's our man.
End poll.
Yeah. Not Dick Gregory, no. Scott wonders if it's Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was not a painter. He was a comedian and a food expert. My second cousin.
Yeah.
Twice removed.
Brother from another mother.
Completely removed now. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about edding, because edding is actually going to be playing a key role in my creative output today. So today we are sponsored by Edding. They're our new sponsor. They've just joined us recently, but we're going to be using, or I'm going to be using their acrylic markers, which I think are fantastic. I've been playing with them a lot recently. And basically, whoop, there's JJ. Basically, acrylic markers are kind of what like they sound. They're markers that provide acrylic paint. So when you paint with them, instead of getting ink or instead of getting that smelly stuff, whatever the hell it is, you're getting acrylic paint. And it dries quickly. And it's basically like if you ever have painted with acrylic, you have to set it all up, put it out on your palette, do all those various things that are involved in doing painting in general. But with these markers, you don't need to. They just like pop out a marker, and there it is. There it is. It's paint. It's actual paint.
Fun.
And it functions just like paint. So that is pretty cool. And I've been really having a lot of fun with these markers. If you've used Posca pens, sort of similar, but not, because this, again, is real acrylic paint. You can mix it together. You can add some water. It dries really quickly, much quicker than regular paint. And I just love the bright colors. And I have a boatload of these markers, and they come in 3 different sizes. So I'll be showing you them. So for instance, here are 3 different sizes. So you got a big fat one, you got a medium-sized one, and you've got a thin one. But actually, I just showed you 2 medium-sized ones. So, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
As if more couldn't go wrong.
Yeah.
More is going wrong. So yeah. So anyway, so that's what you're going to see me using today.
And this generous giveaway.
Yes.
Should we tell folks about that?
We're going to be giving away. We're going to be giving away a set of these 5 markers. We're going to be giving away 3 sets to people who would be interested in trying
3 sets of 5.
So yes, so a total of 15, but never mind, that's confusing. You're going to get 5 markers if you're one of the 3 people picked. You just have to write to us at info@sketchbookskool.com, send us your U.S. mailing address, and tell us why you are interested in getting these.
Give me a reason to pick you.
Yeah, Jenny will be picking from the select crew who apply. You can also write to us by snail mail if you prefer, for some reason, if you hate the computer, although I'm not sure what you'd be doing here if you did. But if you want to write some kind of amazing explanation, yeah. So good. So this is going to be fun and exciting. And what are we going to do with all this? Well, we are going to paint a still life. We're going to paint this still life of Cézanne's
Fruits.
So this painting is called, as you can see in the corner, Still Life with Quince, Apples, and Pears. Painted in 1885, 86, 87. Now, Cézanne is now a god for painters in particular. Everybody just loves Cézanne. And if you've ever gone to a museum and looked at an original Cézanne, he's a spectacular artist. And there's so much to see in his paintings. And he had a profound effect, of course, on so many artists in the 20th century and beyond. So Cézanne wasn't particularly well known while he was alive, not particularly successful. Really, I think it was probably Picasso who kind of shone a light on Cézanne. But I think he's great. And because we are going to be working with acrylics, or I'm going to be working with acrylics, I thought this would be interesting. I think now when we look at this, you might say to yourself, I don't have acrylic paint. I don't know how to use them. I don't have any kind of paint. Whatever. That's the creative opportunity here, which is to say, what are you going to do with this scenario anyway? And how are we going to, because I want to spend a good half an hour working on this, and I want you to as well. So think about it. What materials might you use? You could do this entire thing just with a ballpoint pen, honestly, and you could look at values and tones. You could create gradations. You could do all kinds of things. If you spend a half an hour drawing this fairly simple composition in whatever material you choose, I think you'll have a great experience. So yes, let's get on with it. So as I said, this is a relatively simple composition.
What makes it? Why would you say that? Because I think I look at that and I think like, oh dear.
I mean, let's be honest. It's basically 4 circles in an oval,
Okay.
right? I mean, it's not. And I'm gonna probably. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it simply. I'm gonna work simply. So I'm starting with a sort of medium-sized marker, and I'm just going to draw these elements. Actually, I didn't need to do that. I'm going to probably start here, and I'm just going to draw the different elements. Just draw the outlines of them. And let's see, I think I have a different yellow names.
Gina Z is painting in a moving car.
That
gets
that's
extra
pretty
credit.
good. That's pretty
for sure.
good. That is pretty good.
Let's make her, Gina. Why don't
Are you driving as well?
No, Gina's not driving. Gina's a passenger. But Gina, why don't you use a blindfold?
Could you
Really challenge yourself.
I will be. I'm gonna. If you're wondering about these results, that's probably what I'm doing. Yeah. So I'm just drawing the kind of basic outline of the shapes, as it were. And again, I'm not probably going to do an exact copy, just because I don't want to. I mean, I could make this exactly look like Cezanne painted it, but I'd get in trouble. Can't have the police kicking down the door in the middle of. Had enough technical problems, and
That would be a real
that would be a first.
terror if someone's like swatted
That would be
draw with me.
Yeah, that would be extremely unlikely. But yeah, so all right, so there's basically the bits, and yeah, I mean it's a bit off.
I like wonky.
It's a bit off more than I could chew.
I like wonky.
So yeah, so now I'm taking a big fatty, and just gonna.
I was wondering what you were gonna do about that background.
Yeah, but you'll see. So this is going to be layers and layers, and that's a tribute to Cezanne, who was really, layers and layers. So
Twiggy's doing some snoring in the background. I'm not sure if anyone can hear that.
Yeah.
I really like that blue color. I'm rather fond of it. Robin's egg blue.
Yeah.
Or Tiffany blue.
I think what do they call it? They call it pastel blue.
Oh yeah?
Thing is, like, this doesn't smell, which is really nice. You're not getting any of that alcohol vibe. And it's paint-like, and I'm painting on paper also, which is nice. So now when I look at it, I see, of course, that the Cezanne, it's not a straight line, his background. In fact, there's a bit of encroachment here. But
Encroachment?
yeah, in the sense that it's a straight line there's a straight line of the horizon there, but then he's got this paint that's sort of encroaching on that background for some reason that he did it that way. What's also handy is being able to have different sizes, so you can go in and know that it's exactly the same paint, but you're just applying it with a different thing.
Hey, we have a question about your paper.
Yeah, so this paper is actually, it's paper I got from Edding, and it is basically, it's kind of canvas-like paper. I don't know what it's actually called. It's called acrylic art paper. So it's actually close up. It's pretty thick, and it has a little tiny bit of canvas texture to it. But I've used these paints on all kinds of materials, and it works well. You can use it on cardboard. You can use it on anything you want. So,
I mean, what would you recommend to folks who are at home? Watercolor paper?
well, if you don't have this set of markers, because why would you? They're brand new to America, really.
Well, people might be using other markers.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if you're using markers, hopefully you have some experience with markers and you know about bleed through and things like that.
Like a mixed media paper would be good, right?
A mixed media paper would be good.
What about a Bristol?
Bristol would be good also. But if you, or you could even use, watercolor paper.
I have a feeling we're going to see some people rendering this in colored pencil.
Yeah, I think it's a good subject for colored pencil.
I agree. I kind of want to tackle this. It looks like something you could really spend a lot of time making those colors lush.
You see what's happening here is I put a little bit of that darker red, and then I'm blending in a bit of this orange, and they're blending together to create another color, which is what I'd hoped would happen.
That's just good, clean fun. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's. I mean, because a lot of times with markers, you end up in a situation where you go, okay, even if I have hundreds of markers, invariably I don't have the exact right one. Whereas,
or
if
you
you
don't have it at hand.
If you're used to watercolors, you're used to mixing your colors. And with this, you can do that, but you can also do it. So right now I'm just kind of blending paint that's still wet. And so it's turning into a blend. But in a little while, I'm going to come in with a wet brush, and I'll show you what that's like, so that there I can, with a wet brush, I can actually go in and...
You're going to use a water brush, or you're going to use a brush?
I'm going to use a brush because I could have used a water brush, but what happens is you get you can mix it just like a regular paint, and then you can also have it be diluted. So right now, a lot of this is super intense colors, but you may not want super intense colors. I don't like that color.
I like that noise.
You just don't like this scratchy noise.
No, the scratchy noise I struggle with, I'll be honest.
So
Scratchy noise of a marker I find to be
sounds like
less of a problem than the blending stump, the dreadedest
the
blending stump. I mean, I could almost not even say the words without cringing. It's like worse than nails on a chalkboard for me.
So what's interesting is Cezanne, if you look at his shadows, it appears that he's using a black in some of these places. I'm not.
I would say it's navy.
Yeah, I'm not going to be using black. That is just...
I mean, it's navy and
intense.
brown.
Too intense. But it is different colors. I mean, I'm right now just using this one navy, sort of, what is this color? It's called Elegant Midnight.
Ooh!
Yes, sort of a black tie affair. But I'm going to also come in with some other dark colors. And like, for instance, this is a purplish color, which is called...
It's kind of off camera if you want to adjust.
It's what? I'm sorry?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so this is a color called berry. All right.
Fruit, another fruit.
Introduce a little berry into the salad. But again, we want to ultimately, this is all about just mixing colors and not having pure colors. I mean, if it was like pure colors, it would feel more sort of Matisse-like, I guess. But Cezanne, because Cezanne is like painting kind of the way that we see, right? That's sort of what the Impressionists were all about. And this kind of combination of colors blending in our brains. is nice.
See, I feel like that underplate is brown or aubergine.
The shadow, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Underplate.
The underplate. Yeah, you're correct. That's partly because I need to make the foreground a lot darker.
So Garrett is asking a question you may or may not know the answer to. Mm-hmm. Do the paints and the paper being from the same manufacturer affect the quality? Or like, are they designed to go together?
I think they've thought about it. I don't think that they would say you need to feel limited. I'm sure you can paint on anything with this. But, I think that some companies are known for specific categories of art supplies. So,
right, like if you specialize in paints, you might not specialize in papers.
Right.
I don't know, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I think you might make paper that has this specific application. I have a feeling that in this case, they just kind of wanted to give you some paper so you could see what it was like, but I don't know that is necessarily the only way to do it. I think you have to just keep trying stuff, and seeing what works, because best isn't necessarily meaningful. There isn't necessarily a best, because it may be chemically best perhaps, but I think in the end you want to also have something that works best for you and the way you work. Like you might want to blend lots of different materials, in which case, regular watercolor paper might not work for you, or anyway.
Ooh, Jean McKay, late to the party. Glad you're here now. She's going to use watercolor crayons, which I think would be fun.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, watercolor pencils also.
Jean, I hope you'll send it to us so we can put
so,
it in next week's
so you notice,
film. That'll be cool.
So I've got a wet brush here, and you saw how I was able to kind of blend this gray, but when I now go over this orange, it's dried basically. So it's no longer activating. It's not like if it was gouache, it would start to mix. So you might say to yourself, what am I going to do? How am I going to get some mixture? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little dish here, put in a little bit of red, put in a little bit of orange. This red is pretty powerful, so I'm going to probably put in more orange and red. And then I can just kind of mix it in this bowl. And here I now have this kind of orangey red, which doesn't exist in the actual markers, but I'm able to combine it and create something new. So
that's pretty wacky there.
Yeah, it's nice. So you can make your own color, and I was able to layer on top of the existing paint because it was dried and it didn't change, it didn't blend it. And now I'm going to take this little bit of yellow and I'm going to sort of blend it as well here. So do a bit more mixing here. It's fun to do this mixing.
Someone's suggesting you finger paint.
Finger paint?
Yeah. Well,
it's
Samantha says smear it with your finger on the paper before it dries.
It's not dry, you see. I mean, it's dry. There wouldn't be anything I could finger paint with. It's not.
I think she meant the mixture in the mixing bowl.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not how I roll.
Clearly, not having met Danny before. Once Danny has paint on his fingers, we have paint on our throw pillows.
Yeah, paint. We have paint everywhere. So, yeah, so I'm going to mix a bit more of a darker green here. What's nice also about doing it this way is you also get a kind of a painterly effect where, it's, I mean, because these markers do blend, so you're not getting just, like here, this looks like a marker background, right? But now I'm going to start to layer on other colors. Like I have this sort of more teal thing. I'm going to mix that in a bit.
So the title of this is Still Life with Quince, Apples, and Pears. So what do we think this green unit is? Is that...
A green apple?
I don't know. Sure doesn't look like a green apple.
You see how this lighter blue is kind of blending in with the darker
Yeah, I'm liking that.
teal. So it just feels more painterly somehow. It blends together. And now you can also clean off your tip of your marker, because you might get, some of that darker color might appear on your lighter marker, but it's not permanent. You can just wipe it on a towel or a piece of paper and it won't go away. And I think a key is going to be this purple. See, this purple is the complement of yellow. So, it's a nice way to...
Is that the berry?
Yeah, the berry. So I can I'm creating just a lighter purple overlay on the yellow. And I'm seeing the yellow through it still. So it's all about layering and layering and layering and moving stuff around, constantly going around your image and looking for new places you want to adjust stuff.
So Jen brings up a good point, which is when you're taking this layering approach, you inevitably enter an ugly phase.
That's my trademark.
Yeah.
You get, it can get ugly, but you just keep working at it and you'll get out of it. I find that this is, because it's acrylic and because it's drying, you're not going to get into this sort of potential mushiness that you can get with watercolor, where it just starts to build up and the colors are no longer fresh because you just got so many layers to it, and you're just feeling like you're never going to be able to pull it back from the brink. I used to like to paint in acrylic. In fact, when we lived in California, I had a studio where I could paint. I had an easel set up, and it was really fun. But basically, the thing about painting is you got to say, okay, I'm going to go out and spend a whole bunch of time now painting. You can't. It's not a spontaneous sort of thing. You have to fill up your palette, and you have to, do all these adjustments, and and then usually, particularly with acrylic paint, everything that you put on your palette is kind of dead afterwards. Like you can't, once it's out of the tube, it's sort of, it is no longer viable once it's dried. So it's just a bit more of an ordeal. Whereas with these markers, I find like you could just pull it out and just, you could have like a couple of, it's essentially like having a couple of tubes of paint in your pocket if you go out and you're urban sketching. You have the ability, and you can also mix this with, you could use it in the same pages you did watercolor. Let's say you could put down a layer of it and then draw a watercolor over it once it was dry. What else have people said that they're doing? Other materials are they using in this?
I've seen color pencils. I've seen gouache. I've seen watercolor crayons. I think someone's using watercolor or Inktense. I think that's about it. Sandy Banks bought an edding package of 4 fine liners. You're loving those fine liners.
I really love it. Yeah. These fine liners, the edding fine liners are...
Well, you're loving the caps. I mean, it's a funny thing because that, obviously a fine liner has to be an awesome, bold, excellent line. But to have the cap
is kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal.
I also like the fact that the numbers are really big and you can see them. You can grab them out of your bag or grab them out of wherever you keep your fine liners, and easy to find. But I think the real reason I like them is because I just love the clean, solid black lines. And the thing is, with this particular image, I could consider, drawing outlines around all these things. And
maybe you will.
Making it more graphic.
It's too soon to tell.
Well, right now I'm kind of digging the fact that it is a painting. I haven't painted in a long time. In part because I for so long living like in a New York City apartment, I remember there was one period when I was painting in New York, and I would paint, I would prop up a canvas on the back of a dining room chair or something, and then I would paint there, and it just took over everything. And it was also, then I'd have some big canvas. That's in part why it's became a sketchbook artist.
And then there would be paint on the throw pillows.
There'd be paint everywhere. But yeah, fortunately, acrylics are not as messy as oil paints are, and as permanent. But it was a big undertaking. It wasn't the kind of thing you could do casually. And as a result, I think I also just didn't get that good at it and then I would also end up with a big painting. And I was like, what am I going to do with this big painting? I really want a big painting.
Out on the curb. It's funny because there were Danny Gregory paintings that we put, because in New York City, your trash goes to the building's communal trash collection zone. And some of Danny's paintings sat in that trash room in our building.
Oh yeah, for years.
Literally a decade.
Because our super liked them. And
so we put them in the trash.
He would hang them on the walls in the basement. That was my first solo show, actually. It was
in the trash room by the
garbage compactor.
With the fruit flies.
Hey, a lot of great artists started out that way. I do like the brightness of these colors. I think it's showing up on camera. You can see how nice and bright they are.
Yeah, I think something just happened that turned a really good corner for your image.
Yeah, kind of coming out of the ugly stage, I guess.
I think it just turned. I see the possibilities now. Oof.
See, I like that painterly background that he has, where you can see all those little clumps of brush strokes.
I like it too.
Yeah, so I'm sort of trying to simulate that a bit. Just making it feel, I think that's pretty nice looking. Again, he's Cezanne, and I'm clearly not, but you still have the same fun.
Grace Afridi just said, I think your picture rivals the original.
That's very nice of you, Grace.
Grace, you are too kind.
Grace,
truly.
Maybe you need to clean your monitor.
Grace is not wearing her glasses today.
And now I'm going to bring in some white, which is nice, to be able to just do that. I'm feeling a bit like Bob Ross today.
Happy little fruits.
Happy little fruits.
Fruit.
All right, let's look at this plate. It's not looking. It's looking like bare, pretty bare.
Yeah, you've neglected the plate.
Well, the thing is, Cezanne has had all this basically white paint on it, and so I'm going to try that. Just putting some white paint on. At least it gives us some texture now, and then we could put in, maybe put in a bit of purple, mix it up a bit in there, just to give it some. I need a blue. The thing is, when I'm done with this, I'll just dump all these markers into a box, put them away, rinse my brush off, and I'm done. I don't have any.
Could you wash your hands before you go
My
touch
hands.
the throw pillows?
I have a little bit of paint on that finger.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's basically it. So it's not a real hog fest. As I think I mentioned to you last time we talked about edding, it is a German company that's been around since the early 60s, but they're pretty new to America, and I think they're just starting to roll out. So you may not be able to find these yet in your local art supply store, but you'll almost certainly be able to buy them online. Right?
We have our Blick link, which will direct you to these edding markers.
Yeah, well, that's good. So, and I think you have to look at them as not markers, but look at them as if like they're the equivalent of buying paint. So when you price them and when you decide which colors you want to use, you have to look at it as if you were buying paint. Because you can also, you can go full on and do canvases with this.
You've been having a total blast with these.
Yeah,
and you've resisted markers in the past.
I don't like the smell. I also don't like the.
Let's be honest. You're a sketchbook guy.
Yeah.
And markers can be problematic in a sketchbook, but
yeah, this stuff isn't. It does not bleed through, and it's not. It's a way of painting in a book, which is pretty cool. What happened here? Yeah, I think if you came upon this as a page in a sketchbook, it would be pretty interesting. Just as I said, that Twiggy snoring. Yeah, so it's like everybody is a critic.
Twiggy beef.
Gotta make sure I don't overdo this. I don't think I'm at the risk of that yet, but
you have about 20 minutes left. Does that help?
Sure. So you can see this is, as I said, when we started, I said this is a pretty simple composition. Hard to imagine that you would spend this much time on it, but you can also see, you can just keep adjusting and keep seeing. Like I screwed up this plate, as you can tell, like the distance between this orange and the front of the plate, it just isn't sitting on the plate at all the way it should. But it's, if I was just trying to copy Cezanne, because this is paint, I could just completely readjust this line. Maybe I'll do that. It seems a little risky, but maybe I'll just readjust this line so there isn't quite so much of this plate here. So if I was to, see, I can just go in there with this. And it's paint, so I'm painting over paint and right now it's turning into a mess, but it's opaque, so it will clean up in a minute. It's going to take a bit of work to integrate this sort of patch that I just created. But that's the thing I remember about painting and watching painters, is these kinds of decisions where you're like in the middle of something and then you go, you know what, I'm going to completely change, I'm going to completely move this shape and fix the composition in some way. You can do that. So you don't have to despair and go, oh, I screwed that up at the beginning, I can never fix it. You can keep fixing it. You can keep doing stuff to it. Actually, I'm going to put in a bit of black just to make it even darker.
Are you using a fine liner?
No, I'm just using a black
marker?
Ink marker. It's all a little wet still, so gotta be a bit careful there. You also want to make sure that these shadows have some relationship to each other. You know, that you don't have like just blue shadows over here and black shadows over there. Unless there's some compositional reason that's what you want to do. You know, you might want to vary that. That's totally acceptable. See, this plate still could be even tighter, could even be there. But I don't know, I think it's better now that I got rid of some of that. That plate was just becoming too important in the composition. See, I have this kind of dirty brush, which has got some of that gray on it, and I'm mixing it with that brown, just because, again, I want to try and simulate this. And there's a lot of colors in this foreground that he has. There's like golden colors, you see here, down here. It's really. There's a bit of pink in here somewhere, so you can see there's a bit of pink. It's a lot of different colors up close. And you can blend it in and make other colors out of it.
It's mottled.
Yeah, that's true.
Jen says, I'm using my dirty palette for that color.
Yeah, that is a familiar color. It's basically the color you get when you just keep mixing crap on your palette until it becomes a sort of a brown.
Swamp thing,
exactly. All right, I'm just going to let this dry for a second. I feel like my painting doesn't have the contrast that his does, which is kind of sort of a dangerous observation, because Then you can end up like making it super dark because of that. But
Wait, what?
well, I'm just noticing that it's probably because his shadows are really, really dark. And that makes it more dimensional. I just don't want to go too far with that, but.
Don't stop me now. Having a good time. Oh, Twiggy just woke up. Hi, baby.
Musical interlude.
I don't know why that song popped into my head.
What is that, Queen?
Yeah. I think that was rather effective.
Adding that black?
Yeah, it gave you some dimension. So I don't know about all of you,
Yeah.
but we're taking the day off tomorrow.
Wahoo. Yeah, we are so bad at.
You know, summer
Vacation.
Fridays are a thing in New York City. I think they're kind of a thing on the East Coast, right?
I guess so,
When
'cause
we
you-
worked at the ad agency, they would literally give each employee, I think it was like 4 summer Fridays that you could use between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and you could have, in addition to your allotted vacation time, you had summer Fridays.
And they would also close, like have half days for everybody on right?
I feel like that didn't happen all that often, but it feels like a lot of people would take the summer Friday on the same summer Friday, right? Some days you'd show up and their office would be half empty.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've decided to just summer Friday is not really a thing here in the Southwest, but we're trying to bring them. It's going to be our contribution to the culture here. We're taking them. So we kind of took last Friday off too. Last Friday, we had a photo shoot. With professional photographers came to the house and took pictures of Twiggy. Oh, just kidding. They took pictures of Danny. That was fun. That was kind of like a summer Friday. 'Cause
Yeah, we haven't really seen what the
didn't really
pictures are going to be
work.
like. Let's hope that they look reasonable. I mean, they're going to be of me, so of course they're going to be excellent.
But it was fun. And you know what we're going to do next Friday? I've already planned this out.
What are we doing next Friday?
Next Friday, we are going to go see the new Wes Anderson film in the movie theater on the day it comes out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're doing it.
I can't think of the last time we went to a premiere. We've been going to like really old movies. We just saw
Inglorious Bastards.
Glorious Bastards, and we saw The Big Lebowski the week before that.
Yeah.
But generally, we've been going to oldies. But yeah, this new, we love Wes Anderson, of course. So
Pretty excited. I think it's called Asteroid City. We're going. We're going. Probably going to go. What do you think of this? Go for the first show of the day and then go out to lunch.
whoa, I like it.
Summer Friday.
Let's be us and a bunch of 100-year-old people. The 11 a.m. showing. All right, I feel like I could keep doing this forever, and I don't know that it's going to get
Well,
any
you
better.
have 9 more minutes.
Okay.
Does that help? Unless you feel ready to be done. Maybe you're done.
Yeah, it's okay. What do you guys think? I feel pretty good about this experience. As I said, I'm kind of new to this, and let me just make some more excuses. Still figuring this stuff out, but I feel like this is okay. It doesn't really look like the kind of thing that I would normally do. But then that's because I'm not Cezanne, I guess. But anyway, these things are fun. These tools are fun. I hope that I will continue to use them in my sketchbook. This is on the special kind of paper, just because I wanted the Cezanne look to it. But can you hand me those two things that I did over there? They're right behind
Oh, sure.
the computer.
Oh, those are fun, Danny.
Yeah, so this is like a more just flat out version that I did. I just did this kind of quickly because I was still trying to figure it out. And this is sort of,
You know who.
combining it with colored pencils. Because that's another thing about it is you can, once it's dry, you can do anything on top of it. So, so that was an experiment. And then this is the version I did yesterday of the same thing.
Whoa. Put today and yesterday side by side. You don't yet. We're showing how you make the sausage. You don't usually practice before you do drawing.
No, I was insecure about this.
In case anyone's wondering, this is not the norm.
Yeah. Wait, let me just bring back Paul's version.
I mean, I think that is a thing I've seen some people in the chat saying that they want to try this again with different materials.
I think, yeah.
I mean, you definitely got something out of doing it twice.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it's obviously different doing it in a live stream with you all.
And talking.
It's slightly different experience, but it's there. I think I kind of like the one I did yesterday better. But anyway, that's that. That is the experience for today. It's also ironic because I've often kind of mocked the idea of like, oh, you're going to sit around learning to draw by drawing bowls of fruit.
Well, you often mock things that you actually do.
That's true. It's like you start out by saying like, oh, why are people, who on earth would ever use, acrylic paint when you could use oil paint? Or who would use a marker with acrylic paint in it? Or who would draw a bowl of fruit? Or who would waste time doing these things? I don't know. I have a lot of hard, fast rules that I then unfortunately break. So don't do what I do. Do what I say.
On that note.
Let me just have a look at what people have been saying in the comments. Rick says the Cezanne had nice canvas texture. It's true. Cezanne, like you go and look at his paintings up close, the paint is gloppy and thick. He would probably be outraged by the idea of using paint markers or of using acrylic paint. Maybe not. I don't
know.
He was an experimenter. He probably would be cool with it. But yeah, when you go and look at a real Cezanne up close and you can see the canvas through it and you can see the brush strokes and the layers. It's amazing. Yeah. All right. Linda asked, do you store them upright or flat? I store them flat.
Yeah, you have them in a drawer. You have them in a bin.
I have them in a big bin, but you just take them and you do this. There's a little ball bearing in it. It mixes it up. You might need to press down. That's the thing you need to do with these is you press down on the nib to get them started. And basically what happens is the paint flows when you first open it. The very first time you use it, you have to get the paint to flow down into the nib because the nib is.
What happens at high altitude? Do you need to be careful about that?
I don't know. I live in the desert.
Got it.
Actually, the desert could be high altitude, but no, I don't know. Honestly. I'm new to these things. But here, let me just see if I can find. Okay, so here's one.
Whoa!
Just opening it for the first time here, but you can see how the nib is clear. It's just a pink. It's the thing, and then let me just show you.
Is it called priming?
Yeah, it is called priming. No, I have.
I have nothing.
See that blue book right behind you? Yeah. So.
Show them the title of that book.
All right, so let me get rid of Cezanne here. So yeah, so this is my. So this is how I sort of started out by testing these. So I take this, and you just kind of keep jamming it down there. It takes a minute or two. Just keep jamming it and jamming it, and slowly, see how the paint is starting to flow? It takes a minute or two, but again, you don't want to do too hard because you don't want to bend the nib too much. But
This is called priming.
Priming it, yeah. So basically, what you're doing is this is like a tube of paint, essentially. And then you're basically forcing it to come down and go into the sponge nib. And you see how it's almost all... Do that, keep going. So as I said, you only need to do this when you first buy it. And then now it's good to go. So now I can... Boom. And then, obviously you want to keep the lid on it, but then you might need to do this a little bit occasionally, and that just is a ball bearing inside that just kind of moves the paint around, and that way you get fresh paint into your brush, into your nib, whatever it's called.
Helen is giving sage advice. Don't press the nibs too hard or you'll wreck them.
Right. You could definitely bend this. You could bend it too much. You want to keep that kind of wedge shape, that it's a chisel tip. You definitely want to do that. But then there's this is the narrow one. See how it's like it's a very fine round nib, round tip. So they have slightly different shapes depending on the size.
Depending on how much you've manhandled them?
Well, no, this is for drawing a narrower line. So you don't want a big wedge there. And then this is the intermediate one, which is also kind of the round tip, but it's not quite as long as this one is. And then you have the chisel tip for the big one. They also have a kind that which is basically it's like you squeeze it and paint comes right out of it. And that's the most intense. I haven't been using those so much yet. This one. So this has, you see when you squeeze it.
Whoa.
See, paint is starting to come out now.
Hey, we're out of time.
We're out of time. Yeah, so there's that one, and then it has this other end. It has a very fine thing. So this is like, there's no tip. It's just you're basically squeezing a little tube and paint is coming out of it. If that's, and that would be like if you're doing it on a canvas, and you want bigger, thicker kind of paint. That's how you would use that. All right. Well, I'm sorry that JJ's still frozen.
That is awful.
All right. So, we're giving away 3 sets of these markers from Edding. Thank you, Edding, for that. Write to us, info@sketchbookskool.com. We will select 3 people who will get them, and you can try them out, and we'd love to hear what you think. What else? I want to see your bowls of fruit, so please share them on social media. You can share them on Instagram. You can share them on Facebook. If you're a member of our schoolyard, you can share them there. But make sure that when you do, you just post them. People are sometimes confused about that. All you do is you upload it like you would upload a picture of your dog or something. Take a picture, upload it, and then in the description, you might want to say, I painted this bowl of fruit by Cezanne, #SBS draw with me. Put that there. That way we go and we search Facebook, we search Instagram, we'll find your bowl of fruit, we'll add it to our buffet of fruit, and next week it will be part of the opening of the show. And similarly, if you do it in the schoolyard, of course, there's a whole category there called Draw With Me, and you can just share it there. So there's that. Danny'sEssays.com. I write an essay every Friday about creative matters, about the challenges of being a creative person, or about art in general. It's free, and you can sign up for it at Danny'sEssays.com. And subscribe to this channel. The reason I say that is because it's
then you'll never miss it.
It's
you'll never miss
extremely gratifying to my ego. No, the reason I say that is because that way you'll get an announcement. Hey, Draw With Me is coming up.
And it helps us. It helps our channel.
It helps our channel, because our goal ultimately is art for all.
Have you ever wondered what you could do for us? What small thing you could do for us? subscribe
to this channel.
Also a thumbs up.
Thumbs
Always
up,
nice.
liking this channel. This particular show is good. It just helps.
And we didn't beg for cookies, but that is an option. On that note,
it's true. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Sorry that you didn't get to see JJ, but I kind of like just hearing her.
Yeah, I'm glad I put on mascara.
Next week, we're going to experiment with just seeing her. No, she is a lovely addition, no matter what form she takes. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you again next Thursday. Bye-bye.